When I saw Snoop's list of his top 10 MCs, I was just like, some I agree with. Some are like, all right, cool. I can bang with that. But some, I was like, nah, homie, not. And like y'all were saying, M ain't top 10. I don't know if I agree with that.
M
So,
being top.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying M being top 10 is just like, for what? It's like, based on what? Like, you know, he can rap.
I saw somebody break it down like it's lyricist versus like, I guess the connection or like the power behind your speech. Like, I think that was something that to me was like, okay. When I saw that example, I was like, I can respect that. If you're telling me, yo, I think M is a great lyricist, but as you mentioned with like Wayne, he don't really say nothing to you. He don't say nothing of like value or substance to you. Then I can see you saying, all right, he can put words together and make shit rhyme, but in terms of like, who am I going to feel? Like, who am I going to play in 10 years? I'm at the house chilling. It ain't going to be M. It's going to be XYZ. I can respect that.
Right. So, you know, but just, you know, fill the people in on who didn't see Snoop's top 10 list.
His list was interesting.
It's old. He's the oldest top 10 list of all time.
Okay. Before you go, was that his top 10? Because I thought the context was, is M better than these people?
No.
This is his,
he gave his list.
Oh,
his
okay.
quote,
Okay.
My top 10 MCs of all time reiterates mine's, not yours. Okay. Slick Rick.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's not off to a good start. And I like Slick Rick, but come on. Cube. Okay. I can see people, you know, putting Cube in theirs. LL.
I agree with that one.
I can see people putting
LL
in their
top 10. I will get. Now, don't shake your head, G. I will give LL top 10.
Yeah, I can see LL in people's top 10. KRS-One.
If we were going categories, he would be top 10 in a category.
Wow. What category would that be?
Like, LL shifted a lot of
longevity.
You know, like, he shifted longevity, and then like he was the first one to make like that other record, like those girl songs or songs for women.
If there's no LL, there's no Drake.
No Drake, there's no Fab, there's no
none of that. So, this whole like I'm a pretty boy thing, like nah, that wasn't rocking with nobody. Only LL Woody did that. That's fair.
So then he has KRS-One,
which is debatable.
Sure,
I'm not mad about that.
Rakim, I see that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Run,
that's a definite.
Rev Run and DMC, they both like he has them both of them together. He has them in the group. I mean, in the top 10, like separately.
See, to me, that I had a problem with. To me, they're like a lifetime achievement award winner. Like they did so much for rap, but in terms of like ability, like I mean, come on, these dudes are spitting candy bars. Like seriously, Run DMC. Like I mean, again, like they did something for rap in terms of a business, and they're like they're legends. But like, oh, you talking about like, are they comparing to other like people on that list? Like,
this is like putting Bill Russell on your top 10.
Yeah, no, whoa,
caught him.
The disrespect. It's nothing like putting Bill Russell in your top 10.
Caught him.
Blasphemy. How dare you? Really? Nah, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this shit. I'm going solo. I'm breaking up the band. It's ridiculous.
Bill Russell. Who else was in that era? Elgin Baylor. Like,
he's nice. I mean, he's not a top 10, but like he's nice.
Yeah, but this is Snoop's top 10, the 60s.
This is 60s of rap top 10.
But look though, Snoop.
So
I guess I can respect Snoop's top 10 because that's probably just what he grew up on.
Right. These are people he grew up on.
Yeah, so whatever, you know.
I mean,
Big Daddy
Daddy
Kane.
Kane's not bad.
No,
Not
like
bad.
a lot of these dudes, like
I mess with all of them.
Yeah, like I don't see
facts.
the problem with them like being on. You was other than Run DMC, I've seen all these guys on people's top 10 lists, on somebody's top 10 list.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Kane, and then he finishes with Ice-T and my man Short Dog, Too Short.
That was
okay.
Ice-T.
It's a different like demographic of music for me. Like the style of rap that they do just ain't for me. So I wouldn't put them on mine, but I realize the impact that they have for people in that area.
I can see it. You know, like
impactful. Yeah, fair.
Yeah,
but
because you look at Rakim and Big Daddy Kane, they kind of shifted the way people rap.
Yeah,
because before that they were rapping like Run DMC.
Those two are the ones
broken glass everywhere.
I'm about to go to the store, get some candy. You want some more?
And that would have been the hottest bar of the summer right there. That was the hottest bar of the summer right there. Nah, those two, Daddy Kane and Rakim, I respect. LL Cool J, I respect. KRS One, as far as in the top 10, they all make sense. The rest of them, I want to put Ice Cube there too.
I was telling Rick the other day, like if I freestyled like back then, I'd be the greatest rapper of all time. Like if I had that much time to think about what I'm gonna say next in a freestyle.
These are the breaks.
Leave them old heads alone. They like what they like. They like what they like. But yeah, no, I'm happy he put mine's not yours because you can keep it, Snoop. You can keep that list. I'm good. But really not top 10. Yeah, really not putting him in the top 10 at all.
I'm in my top 10. Like I mess with him.
He's not in my top 10.
So then you know what happens now, Reek? I gotta ask you, what your top 10
Who's
is.
my top 10?
You gotta tell me 10 rappers that are better than Eminem. And again, I think a lot of it is he's white bias. I get that. And he spits to a lot of like what he experienced, which he experienced poverty and some of like the things that are across the board, but other shit more aligns with like suburban white kids. It's more like their speed, and I get that. But like just off the lyrical ability alone, you got 10 dudes that's better? I need to hear this.
And he got the numbers to prove it, to match it.
I mean, if we're gonna go, that's fine. But you know, to me personally, 10 people that I feel are better than Eminem. Mm-hmm. And then for the most part, you just look at their one. Eminem has been trash, like for years.
He's been like every two albums he put out.
He has gone into like the Nas numbers in terms of every other album.
We ain't even gotta go there.
Every other album, that's a one hot album every 10-year average. Like he's going into that a bit.
Because here's the thing: the stuff he used to rap about, like his whole fan base are adults now. They grew up. And that's why he started falling off, because the stuff he used to rap about was stupid.
Come on, man. You ain't listened to none of his music though. I don't believe I don't believe you sat in the trenches and wrote his lyrics down on paper before they had Rap Genius. I don't believe you did that.
I like a few of his albums, but it's still like the stuff he used to rap about. His fan base is like they grew up and it's like, well, we kind of not into purple pills anymore. So it's like. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of like comedy in his rap, and it's like when you get older, it don't hit the same. When he was like 15, it was hitting, and then you get to be like 21, and you're like, this is kind of stupid.
So when I never made my top 10 list per se, but if I name like 10 people off top that I would listen to before Eminem, I can do that pretty easy.
I mean, I'm waiting. This is
I can go with no order.
All right. Right. No order. Particular order.
Just 10. We just going 10. Jay, Nas, Big, Pac. I would put Rakim over him. I would put LL over him. Kiss. How many is that? 7? 7.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you so far.
Okay. Who else I was gonna put over? Let me think.
Now I'm gonna point out that,
and this is my point.
Yeah, I'm gonna point out it gets
where
tough.
You're like 7, and it's like shit. And
no,
that's
because
what I've always said.
Because it's not like I'm thinking like, oh, this person isn't better than him. Cube, did I say Cube?
No.
Okay, so I got Cube. I got Scarface. Was that 9?
That seems like that's a preferential thing to me.
That is 100% a preference.
And DMX.
Whiteface.
DMX? Okay.
Okay.
First off, you have Nas and Scarface in that list, and I think M's better than both of them. I'm going to say that right now. I'm sorry. He's better than both of them.
No, he's not better.
Yes,
he's not better than Nas.
Yes.
You can
he's
argue
Scarface. Yeah, I was going to say, you can argue.
Yo, Nas, I'm sorry. No. Nas is the if you went for me in the top 10. I'm sorry.
I would put Snoop over Eminem.
Yeah, I can see it. I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah,
but I think that's my point, though.
I think it depends on what you're talking about. It depends what we're talking about. Lyric. If we kept it to straight ability to string together words, there are not 10 people better than him. If it comes to cultural impact, well, then there's like 20 better than him. But I think the GOAT list is a mixture of the two. At some point, your ability on one, like Tupac's the best rapper, is looked at as the greatest rapper of all time, at least top 2, top 3. Let's be completely 100. This was not the most incredibly lyrical dude ever. But like when he set a bar, you felt it in your chest. It's like shit.
Yeah, you don't feel anything. Yeah, you don't feel anything from Eminem.
I'll give you that. I mean, it's more like it's rap. So then you would say, let me ask you this then. Would you put Wayne over M? Because he the same way. He just say stuff.
I would put Wayne over him because I would listen to Wayne before I listen to him.
It's you okay, so when you say you don't feel anything from Eminem, I guess that's one of the things where it's like he definitely has songs where he's going in about family stuff. Now, if you don't feel it, you might not be going through that stuff, but like he has it.
He has it, but it's still like he'll have a few songs like that in his album, and the rest of it is like
Yo, but okay, that's fair. But like that's the song Stan. One of the most creative songs out. Like
it's a great song.
I'm just saying, but to me, like you ain't like I think like he has enough stuff where if you try, it's like, all right, like I just don't see that top 10.
And that was like telling the story. Like you look at Jay has like 20 of those. Nas has like 20 of those.
Yeah, but Nas stories be boring.
See, because I'm looking at the first 3 for M, mind you, I'm a troll. The first 3 got a lot of troll shit going on for trolling back then. So that's why like M hit different for me because like I want to hear this stupid shit every once in a while. But he also got like Marshall Mathers LP got a lot of stuff where he's like going into his life and going into like stuff that people might feel.
His stuff is more universal in the sense that it's not just street hood shit. Because I mean, keep it a buck. The life that like DMX lived, motherfucker, that wasn't my life. I wasn't struggling for a meal. I wasn't robbing niggas. I wasn't, you know what I mean? So like people been saying like that's their life, but like that's not really my life. Going through some family shit or like being upset or my mom pissed me off, like even today, I can feel that shit because that's real. I can feel that. Like, not to say that DMX is obviously one of the most authentic dudes out. So I'm not saying like M's more real than him. But I'm saying I think I agree with G that M does have more stuff than people think about that is relatable, but you hear the troll shit. You hear the like, like you hear that in the back of your head when you start rapping. You be like, man, shut the fuck up. But he got some deep songs because he's going through depression and divorce and like abusive relations. He's done a lot of shit. So it's like,
but that's the thing. Like
that.
His era, like he was good for that. But what you've seen since then, and that just shows like how good is he really? Because now it's like when you took away all that, when you wasn't on drugs and dealing with your mother and your baby mother and all that stuff, and now that you all right, what do you rap about?
Dude,
and nobody, his music sucks.
That's the R&B thing. Remember when Mary J was like hurting? Those songs hit. And then she got happy, and it was like fine, woo. What the fuck is this? It's not this.
But they were still hits. M hasn't had.
Hits, I guess
they were. I mean, her audience, like they hit. But M doesn't have any of those right now.
I like Kamikaze, despite everybody else feeling like it was forced.
I thought Rap God was tough. I just think
I didn't hear his latest one, to be honest with you. So, like, I guess I can't really talk.
M was in a battle with Machine Gun Kelly, and it was debatable.
Well, that's because Machine Gun Kelly came to Buffalo to make a video. So
nah, G, that may be the nail in the coffin. Shit, nobody in the top 10 struggle with MG. Damn. Yeah. Maybe M should be 11, 12, or 13.
M should have. If you're in the top 10, you wipe MGK off the earth.
Yeah. Like obliterate him. Like no one should know about his music anymore. Like you should Google him and see nothing. He should Thanos that dude. He just disappeared.
Right.
He gone.
He should be what happened to Cannabis with LL did.
Yes. And that's when Cannabis came at him, he was like, yeah, you're done. And he was done. MGK is out here living his best life. He didn't do that. So
it hurt me so bad to admit that L won that because I was so diehard Cannabis. Like I was on Niggonometry. I was listening to all his dumbass songs. I've never seen a more thorough beating of a person into just pulp than that.
Ripper Strikes Back might be one of the most underrated diss songs.
Yo, it's the best. I would say it's number one potentially on the list. Nah, Hit 'Em Up was just rude.
Hit 'Em Up with like
it was just disrespectful. It was so disrespectful.
Yeah, you know.
He started off like I hit your chick. Like what? And then the picture surfaced. Pac was different. He was a different cat.
Shit, Cube joints was different too.
Right, I thought Cube was hard because the thing is, people like it might be a hot take because I always felt like Hit 'Em Up was a little overrated because it was like
no, stop. Where's your mic? Throw it down. Throw your mic down.
Because it was like, first of all, like when you hear all the stories, like when Big heard it, he laughed. Like it wasn't like, oh, this makes me angry. Like, like it wasn't like.
Yeah.
And then, it's still one of them songs that I can always like. I don't even like West Coast music that much, but like if Hit 'Em Up come on, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But it's like people always put like that's the number one diss song, and I don't think it was harder than No Vaseline or.
I'm about to say we getting off topic, but I'm like, what? Just quickly, what is if not? I
ain't gonna stay too long, but I thought like No Vaseline was harder. I thought.
I can get you. I can get with that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like songs like that, like that caused more. Like it was hard, but Big didn't really feel the need to respond.
Take over was harder.
Take Over.
The one that destroyed Nas.
Ripper Strikes Back. Like
Ether was trash, by the way. Just to put that out there.
Yeah, and at some point we're gonna start talking about some shit that y'all can't debate me on. At some point.
All right.
Church.
Oh goodness.
So while we're on music, there's a battle this week with Renzel.
I want you to know where I stand.
Renzel? Oh man.
Yeah, that's what he calls himself. Renzel and Titty Boy 2 Chainz.
I want you to know where I stand in this battle. You see where I stand in this battle?
I'm going with 2 Chainz for the upset too.
Y'all out your minds. So I'm gonna just look. I'm gonna just say this right now. Y'all bugged.
I'm gonna preface this with me feeling 2 Chainz started off as a joke, and then I started listening to his music because I had to back that shit up, and I'm like, damn, I backed myself into a corner. Start listening to 2 Chainz music, albeit it is the dumbest shit I ever heard, but it hit different.
Yeah,
my man said my stove deserves a shout out. I'm like, what up, stove?
That's why
he wrote that down.
That's why his show is the number one show on Vice.
Right.
The most expensive as shit because he says stuff like that.
I don't know. It's something about 2 Chainz that's just
But you hear stories like that about Ross. Like what was the comedian said? Like you went in Ross' house and he said he just had steaks cooking. He's like, yo, we about to have some steak, and he said Ross said, no, I just want that for aroma.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Rick Ross is going to spank 2 Chainz.
Here's my reasoning why I'm going with 2 Chainz. For one, 2 Chainz catalog is very underrated.
For sure.
Like he has a lot of hits. The other thing is Ross's best songs, like this is a battle. So it's like you can't if 2 Chainz play Yeah I Love Them Strippers and then you go Dice Pineapples.
Yo, first off, put some respect in my man's name. Number one, you're not doing that. Number one, so don't even do that shit. Number two, if he goes back to Port of Miami, I'm sorry, there's no 2 Chainz song, period.
You don't gotta win
funny and cool. There's no 2 Chainz song that hits harder than the best songs from Rick Ross. None.
I don't know about that.
I don't know, man.
Name me one. Hustling drops or the Boss drops. I mean, what does he come with?
Hustling drops and then he plays Birthday.
Man,
2 Chainz gonna win that round.
No, he not. That's weak.
Yes, he is.
No, he not winning. Birthday ain't winning nothing.
I'm telling you, it is,
bro.
Yeah.
Then the rap is dead, and we need to.
He got 2 Chainz gonna pull out like Duffel Bag Boy. He gonna pull out stuff.
Duffel
like
Bag Boy is around. Riot is around. Mercy.
He got some songs with Gucci that are hit. I forget the name,
right.
But he got some songs with Gucci. You know how people feel about Gucci, the new niggas. You know how they feel about Gucci.
Right.
And he
having problems with A$AP Rocky. You don't want no problems with Chance the Rapper. Bands will make them dance.
But now we're getting into. You said we're not doing features. That's all features.
Ross is all features.
So it's gonna be. So I'm saying if features can't win rounds, supposedly, if features are gonna win rounds, Ross got better features.
I don't know about that though.
I think he has enough features plus enough hits that are just him. I'm saying the Boss is around, Hustling's around. I think the one I
don't think Hustling aged too well.
Really, bro?
I don't think play if you
unless he played a remix with Jay.
Either way, that's around though. And then what's the other one he got with Jay? The Devil Is a Lie. That's around. How is it not around? I'm sorry. I think Ross. To me, Ross has better stuff alone. And if you go to features, even if 2 Chainz has a slight advantage on the features, name me a standalone song from 2 Chainz that really is like, yo, when this come on, it's over. That's not feature heavy.
I don't like these two battling anyway, because I just feel like the genre of music the vibe of music that I feel like listening to is just different than when I feel like listening to Ross from when I feel like listening to Chainz.
Right, and I think because it's a battle, Chainz has more of that music that's just going to hit. Because when you look at it, because all Ross' best songs got features on them. All of them.
And that's not the case for 2 Chainz?
That's why I think they battling, because they both feature guys. Ross is like the Batman of hip hop. He's always like the least interesting character on his own stuff. You don't go to watch a Batman movie for Batman. You go for the villains.
I mean,
like what is Stay Scheming without the Drake verse?
I mean, a nigga singing. That's all it is. After that, I mean, I hear you, but I just don't agree.
So in reality, I feel like Ross will probably win, but I think people are extra sleeping on Chainz.
Yeah, it's going to be closer than people think.
I think if 2 Chainz goes feature heavy, which he probably has to, I'm looking at some of his stuff like, because when Mercy hits, it's crazy. He's on that. When No Lie hits, it's crazy. Fucking Problem hits, that's crazy. Like, he got some, but they're all feature heavy. I think on Raw side, looking at, like, again, I'm thinking if you go back to, like, again, I think Hustlin', I think a lot of the songs in there is going to hit. I think the Hustler remix is going to hit. I think some of his semi-heavy feature songs are going to hit. And then he got the whole Maybach music shit. So it's like...
Yeah, but it's like, that's the thing. Like, you play a Maybach music after he plays, like, bands make him dance, you going to play Maybach music?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, people just going to be like this, and then it's just going to be...
I don't know how many people listen to 2 Chainz, because like he got on his latest albums, he got some stuff. Like he got some joints with Eagle. He got some joints with Travis Scott. He got some stuff that fill the sound that people listen to right now. And I think
what I'm saying. If it's popular, he is more current. So if it's popular enough, absolutely. But I don't know if it's popular enough. I think enough Rick's Raw stuff is going to hit, and you're going to be like, I'm giving that to Rick. I do agree. I don't particularly love this matchup for these two together. I'd rather somebody different.
It's an odd matchup.
But I want somebody in the same label to go with each other, honestly, or the same crew. I really want that. I'd prefer something like unique like that. This is kind of like, maybe. I do wish Ross is going to win, though.
Somebody was saying Andre 3000 should go against Big Boy.
Why?
I just heard somebody saying it.
Yeah, like, how does that even work?
I heard somebody saying it.
Yo, first off, Andre gonna lose because he plays anything off the Love Below. I'm straight going against him. Greatest lyricist of all time dropped an R&B pop album. Nope. Big Boy wins. Period. And I don't know if they got 20 hits between the two of them that aren't their own hits. They're going to play one verse versus the other verse and see whose verse was better. That'd be kind of cool, maybe.
Big Boy has more solo stuff. Yeah. 3 Stacks literally has like one solo anything to pull from, and Hey Ya was the biggest song on there.
Yo, they can go verse for verse though. They can go. They can play the song and be like, "Who had the better verse?"
That's what I'm saying. I think verse for verse, because although I will say if Andre plays like Hey Ya, like I'll give him a round because like I like the song. like yo, hey, that shit was insane.
Is that like didn't they had a single at the same time? What was Big Boy's single at the same time as Hey Ya?
Don't nobody know. Because Hey Ya hit. Whatever Big Boy did was not good enough. I was like, really?
Let me see. Like, I don't remember this. It had to be.
Dude, I don't even remember the song. I don't even remember the song.
Speaker Box, Love Below. Yeah, The Way You Move. That's what it was.
Yo, that shit's trash.
You can play that. You can play that with your family around, though.
Yeah.
That's that safe song for the barbecue with Big Mama there. That's what that's for. I've
never heard a request for Hey Ya.
Not one time. Not ever. And if somebody asks you that shit, smack the shit out of them. What's wrong with you? Request this stupid ass song. Now you have Hey Apple Music. That's fine.
You can have Tidal, Apple Music, be like, nah, I ain't got it.
All right, man. So yeah, NBA talk. Interesting. I guess I was actually kind of happy because I didn't think I would like it. I still think I'm gonna be mad when the playoffs apparently start. But before we get into some of the action, I know y'all saw your boy Jonathan Issac. Interesting take, I'll say.
Because I'm out the loop. I heard of the story, but I don't have the context of what he did or said.
Oh yeah, of course. So I caught it like late. It was on Twitter. I was just scrolling, whatever. And as you can see from my background, he apparently didn't kneel with Black Lives Matter shirt on or do any of that stuff. And I think it was Taylor Rooks, I believe it was, asked him about it.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, which I thought was weird, he was like, pretty much, I don't see how kneeling or wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt aligns with protecting Black lives. He did say he believes that Black Lives Matter. He did say it, but he then went into his explanation was weird to me. I watched the whole thing twice, the whole kind of clip of it, whatever. And he was like, yeah, I don't believe that those things are going to help Black lives. I believe what's going to support that is what supports me. And that's, the gospel, and that's, Jesus Christ and being saved and having a relationship with God. And I believe that's what's important. I believe we get caught up in, he went into like getting caught up in thinking that some sins are worse than others and that we should all repent and all seek the counsel of Jesus Christ and be Christian. And that's going to solve, the issues of the world. And it can be more than just Black Lives Matter, but fix all the evils of the world is going to be being Christian. And I was cool with that, even though it was not a fucking answer at all.
I was about to say, this explanation took a hell of a turn.
It was real poignant and real thought out, and you could tell he rehearsed it. And what made me mad about it was Taylor then pressed him and said, hey, can I follow up? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. And then she was like, so, I definitely understand relationship with God and being Christian and all that. But she said, how does religion relate to Black Lives Matter, protesting police brutality, whatever. And he just responded with, well, for me, it's not about religion. I was like, fuck. And he said, it's about a relationship with God. And then he literally, like, no bullshit, G, repeated the same thing in the same way at the same cadence. I was like, oh, so you rehearsed this shit. And that's why I was mad, because I'm Christian, whatever, I believe in God, cool. Yeah, I respect that. But how do you hide behind that shit and just not speak about real shit? Or just say, I don't want to talk about it. I would respect him being like, I don't want to talk about it, or I don't care to talk about it, or that's between me and my family and my people. Like, I would respect that. Don't throw the Bible at me on some, that's why. Because if you read the Bible, if anybody who's watched this, or if you guys have read it, I'm not going to assume, Jesus didn't do shit like that. He was with people who were oppressed, who were the downtrodden, as they say in the Bible. Like, so what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's what made me mad. I wasn't mad about, and like all like the Bible thumpers and the MAGA hat wearing motherfuckers were like, yeah, like, I respect him. Gonna get his jersey now. And I was just like, I'm cool. You Christian, you saved, you got faith. I praise up to you, bro. That's cool. But what you just said doesn't make sense at all. And it wasn't an answer. And that's what bothered me, because it was like, when you say religion, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm mad that he didn't agree. No, I'm all for you not agreeing, but don't bullshit me. And that's what I didn't like about it, personally.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Sums it up when you said that. Yeah. I was really confused. I was hoping you got to something when you were talking about it, when you were reading it back, and it didn't quite get there.
Yeah, because she like basically asked him, what does that have to do with you standing for the anthem? The gospel. It's like,
that's dude. What he says. That's what it was. He had nothing but like, yeah, Jesus. Okay, that's what he said. I was just like,
it's like, dude. It like that she'd asked you, why didn't you stand? And it was almost like he just didn't want to say I did it for attention, because that's what it looks like to me, because his answer made zero sense.
No sense. No sense.
So it's like, oh, well, I don't know why when we're kneeling and wearing a t-shirt does for this, that, that. Okay, so that's fine. What does standing up do for it?
I was about to say, I could get on board with you saying that if you follow it up with something else.
That was my whole thing. Understood. Exactly. Yeah, I understood that. I got all that. But what good is standing? Because what does that represent to you? Like, and that was the whole thing. Like, I just think he just trying to be a new black and just be different and
dude, like, he definitely trying to be different. And like
every time you say new black,
it's funny every time. New blacks out here, but like it didn't make sense. And like, I'm with y'all. Like, if he just said like, yo, I don't think that's a good use. And like, even do like, remember how when Jay-Z partnered with the NFL, he pivoted on the whole kneeling thing. He's like, oh, we did that, but now let's do this. At least he gave you something else to say, you know what? This is a problem. We gonna do this. If he just said, you know what? This is a problem. Black lives do matter. I didn't kneel because I don't think it fits with me and who I am. But what I am doing or I plan to do or how I support is this. Because you stand out and make a statement. You know NBA restart is what everybody's talking about. Sports are back. And apparently, looking at the other sports that are out, we're the only sport, NBA is the only sport doing it seemingly kind of right to where they're not having a case pop up every fucking day. So, like, you know people are watching this shit. So you're
send my man Magic City Lou.
Oh, Magic City Lou. Man, my man's a legend. He's not here.
We gotta get on Magic City. We gotta get on Magic City Lou because the stripper came out and said he tipped very well while he was there. So
no. Oh,
that's my guy. Hey,
that is my guy. Yo, that's my guy. That's my guy from now on. I always like Lil Will. Yo, he's like, man, I was getting some food. Sure, bro.
Sure you were. You could have easily sent somebody to just go pick it up.
That's funny. But no, like that's what I'm saying, dude. Like I think, like he disappointed me. Isaac, not Lou. Lou.
But you know the thing is, Jonathan Issac has a reputation of being a new black. So even when like the Central Park 5 thing came out,
then I started seeing that kind of shit. I'm just like, oh, you one of those.
So he was one of those people that was like, well, the movie didn't show all the evidence and blah 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 blah. It's like, dude. It doesn't matter. They didn't do it.
Dude, they not only did they not do it, they were exonerated. Do you understand what the fuck that means?
Right.
Oh, what evidence? No, it wasn't enough. That's why they're free. If there was all this evidence, they'd be in jail. That's the point we're making here, dude. Like, I did see that out there. I'm like,
he's one of those. So that let me know, like, all right, this dude is I like to be different for the sake of being different, and that's why he had no answer for, I don't think, Black Lives Matter, the gospel. And then, it's like.
That, and it's scary, too, because it's a Kanye type answer. I'm going to throw God into it and try to shame you into feeling how I feel because that's what God would want. I'm like, bro, like, Martin Luther King was a preacher. He wasn't just saying, yo, get your ass beat and, like, we going to just pray about it. Like, that don't make sense to me. Like, don't do that shit. And regardless of what religion you are, ain't nobody just going to sit there and be like, yeah, well, we got to just pray on it, and that's it. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Like, so that shit was weak. Like, you can feel differently, but that shit's weak. That whole excuse is weak.
Right. Yeah, we're obviously, I'm not a big Black Lives Matter person, so I kind of get what he initially said with the whole, I don't see what wearing T-shirts and kneeling is really going to do. Because I've always been like, when you're a person that's out there in the community and you do work, those gestures don't really mean much to a person that does work. But
that's fair. And y'all do stuff. So, like, I can respect if you said something like that, makes sense to me. But don't then give an empty gesture after that and act like you did something more than person who kneeled. Like, that's not what happened.
Right. And that's where Jonathan Issac was like, you could just tell he did it for attention the way his answer was.
Yeah.
But
well rehearsed.
Yeah. Anybody want to touch on Magic City Lou?
Magic City
I'm all with it.
Lou.
All with it. Trez is probably there too. That Trez been absent too, right?
Yeah, Trez been gone. Magic City Lou, and I will say this. I mean, one of my former players who's also a coach down there at Georgia State. He was in a group chat with me and some other coaches, and he went to go get the Magic City Lou wings, and he said they're in his top 5 now. They're in the bottom part of his top 5, but they're in his top 5.
I've heard they good. Like no bullshit. I mean, I've heard they good wings. Like, so
most
maybe
people from the South will tell you that they best food is in places like that.
Yeah, he said it's the sauce, fair. Like not so much the wing, it's the sauce. But they jumped on Magic City. Magic City Lou's biggest mistake was posing for pictures in there.
Right.
Nobody would have known.
Do you to play devil's advocate, do you feel like he should have some type of loyalty to the team and be responsible enough to just not do stupid shit like that?
Yeah, because I was actually playing devil's advocate and I had a conversation with some people. Like, oh, he should do whatever he wants. It's like I said, at the other side, at the same time, you're putting yourself at a higher risk of getting it, because if you get it now, you're out Like, what if this was the playoffs, or you know what I mean? And you're out for 2 weeks, and you saw what happened. Like, if he played against the Lakers the other day, they probably win that game. So,
I mean, the fact they were in that game shows you like he would have been enough to tip the scales in their favor. So he if anything, I'm not mad he did it. I'm more so mad he got caught.
Literally that. I was
taking a picture. Right.
Like you gonna get some wings, get a little lap dance, bro. Like you human, I hear you, but don't get caught, homie. Like that's my biggest problem with it.
And
don't get caught.
I've had some real coaches that literally said that to me. They was like, look, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. I'm not mad that you did it. I'm mad that you got caught.
Right. Yeah. I remember, being on the road coaching with kids. Like, coach is going to be in a room. We're not going to sit there and monitor you what you do. Like after everybody's in there, like people. Like, it's been times where coach, champ has found himself wandering back in the hotel at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Literally,
he'll see a player walking in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I won't tell, you won't tell. Like,
yep. I've also experienced that with the same exact person. So, you get it. You can't sit there and control these guys, especially when they leave the bubble. Like, you can't tell them what to do or where to go. But
they're grown men. I mean, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. So
just be smarter about it.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw your boy Perk had the chirping about it. It's so immature. And I'm like, bro, you don't
shut up, Perk. Another LeBron plant.
So what I'm learning is, I didn't know I didn't like Perk until I met y'all talking about Perk.
Yeah,
I just ignored him. Like, I just generally don't listen to things that he's on. So I don't know any of his takes.
No, he's getting so much play for some reason.
On a lot.
Like he can barely string together a sentence, and it's just like, because LeBron did. Oh my God, like he's just the worst. Like that must be why you cool with LeBron, because you get a job for life. If you are on his side and you once play with him, you gonna get to ride to every championship he gets to. And then you go into the media and be on like every NBA show for the rest of your life. I'm just like,
he doesn't care if you're a mush mouth or you're a mush mouth or anything. You can be on a show. Like
and he got that heavy country accent. He'd be like, if you don't just stop.
And then he always says, "Guess what?" He always says, "Guess what?" And guess what? And guess what? And guess what? When LeBron, guess what? When LeBron goes and does this, he can give him a 30-point triple-double. And guess what? And guess what? An AD comes in. What?
It's taken me 4 episodes to understand that y'all don't hate LeBron. Y'all just hate everybody that surrounds LeBron.
Yes. Probably, that's what it is. I've always said it. I hate his fans. Like,
they are the worst kind of fans.
This is the thing. Like, the other day, watching the game, because his fans really don't have no belief in him, right? And this is what I know about LeBron. Because all game, they started hedging their bets. Like, they started you could see the excuses they would have had lined up. Like, LeBron, he's not having a good game, or Anthony Davis and this and that third, like setting it up. And then when he won, it was look what he did to Kawhi, and look what he did to Paul George, and he's the greatest ever, and blah, 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 blah. Like, the whole game, you were quiet, setting up your excuses when you lose. And then, you know what I mean? Like
there's a reason that the biggest highlight is that last, couple possessions when he played defense. There's a reason that there's no highlights from the first 3 quarters, because he didn't do shit for the first 3 quarters.
Right.
He was just there.
He looked very old in those first 3 quarters.
And the best player on the floor, without a doubt, is number fucking 3. AD was the best dude on the floor. He had 20 in the first 30 minutes of the game, or 20 minutes of the game. I was like, yeah, this should really be his team. It'll never be called his team, but it should be at this point.
But the crazy thing, his fans, this, and this is the other thing, his fans were doing to try to help him get MVP. They kept downplaying Anthony Davis, for the last 2 weeks.
That bothers me so much because AD deserves the credit for being an MVP candidate, and he won't get it on LeBron's team. He will not get it, and he deserves it. Dude is a beast, and he doesn't get the credit because he plays with LeBron, and LeBron's fans are like, see how much Anthony Davis has grown? No, he was a beast before he got here. Bro. What are you talking about?
His stat line is pretty similar.
He's been this guy forever.
He's just this guy before
he played in New Orleans and nobody cared. Now he's on the LA, and you're like, oh, LeBron did this. No, LeBron ain't do shit. Don't do that.
LeBron ain't do it. Like you can easily say, look what Brandon Ingram is after he left LeBron.
Talk about growth. Talk about getting better.
I still, as a Pelicans fan, I still dislike every time Brandon Ingram has the ball, but lately it's worked out.
Yeah, he's been balling lately. He was making me nervous early season.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched the Pelicans, but early in the season, I was like, God, give the ball to somebody else, anybody else.
You had that Randall feeling.
Yo, it was.
He might have been worse than Randall.
No,
I take that back.
Well, I'm about to say, is anybody worse than Randall?
We're Knicks fans. When Randall gets the ball, not even the fourth quarter, at any time.
I turn the TV off. I'll be watching the Knicks game. It'd be like, Randall got the ball.
Yep.
I'll wait a couple seconds.
We know.
They told Ingram that he was like KD, and then like he believed it a little too early. Right. And that was my problem the first half of the season.
But that's always been the thing. They look at him like you could be a KD type, but put the work in and make sure you got it right before you just start jacking up shots.
And he doesn't, I would have never compared him to KD. Just because he's long and skinny doesn't mean he's KD. Like he doesn't shoot it as well as KD. He doesn't dribble as well as KD. He's not 7 feet. So he's not Kevin Durant.
So in conclusion, he's just not Kevin.
He's just not Kevin Durant. Just let him be Brandon Ingram.
That's good.
So
did y'all catch any of the? I think the Rockets and the Mavs had a shoot around. Did y'all watch any of that?
Yeah, I watched it.
I was sending him
talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I was sending him all the tweets because I was on Twitter last. I didn't watch any of the games. I was on Twitter like, this is good enough. Like this
it was like there was no defense at all. I was just like, oh, this is fun. It just. By the way, a lot of games were like that. A lot of games were like high scoring games, but that game was ridiculous. I was like, yeah, chill.
You know how you go to the park and you play like 7 games, like game 5, 6, and 7. It just turns up to whoever feel like getting a rebound and shooting.
Right.
That's what these games look like.
Yeah. It was bad. Like it was so bad. The first quarter, like I wasn't paying attention to the quarter. It was like 42, 45. I'm thinking they're getting ready to go into halftime.
Dude, right.
Like no, it's about to be the second quarter.
They had 80 at the half? I was like, what?
I was thinking Dallas was going to get 150 points in regulation. I was like, there was no defense being, and then on top of that, you saw people on Twitter, Harden is the greatest scorer of all time. There is no defense.
No one's even trying to check him. Not even attempting to check him. They're not even putting a hand up. Like, it's just like, if he wanted, he got it. Like, he Euro through like 4 people that no one really tried to stop him. I was just like, oh. He just, do, layup. I was just like, well, that worked, I guess.
And it was just a 3-point contest. All they did was shoot threes. Meanwhile, the tallest guy on Houston is 6'6", and Porzingis refuses to post up in the paint.
Did you see when he tried a couple of times against Covington and he got swatted or then lost the ball? I was like,
yeah, he's weak. Like people, Knicks fans know. Like we knew about Porzingis. Everybody can say, "Oh, they're Dallas. They're getting a steal the next 10 years." Of course, KP is soft and he sucks.
He is soft, but damn it, man, when he puts up 39, you be looking at that pick we got back for him like this shit better work the fuck out. Because if he can beat, would you not rather have him over Randall right now? I mean, even if you had to get that man the max, Randall over him, that makes my heart hurt.
I wouldn't want KP because he'll have 39 because Houston wasn't playing no defense.
That is true. I gotta see how he does the rest. They didn't even try.
Right.
They didn't even try to guard him correctly.
Even when he posted, I'm like, yo, you're 7'3". You can get in the paint and just jump hook them to death.
Didn't do it at all.
and he wanted to put on the ground and drive past Covington for pull-ups.
So question, where does KP, so y'all, I don't watch this basketball. Where does KP fit in the NBA? Like, you can't argue he's definitely talented, right? So there's a place for him, but like, obviously, people don't like him on the perimeter, but like, where does he fit? What team does he work on?
He works best on Dallas because they had a Dirk, and they know exactly how to deal with a tall dude who has a skill set of a guard. But and Dirk talked about it, like when they started being a more formidable team, he took his ass in the paint. I'm 7 foot. I gotta go get a board. I gotta go put somebody in the post. If I got a little dude on me, it's over. And when Dirk started doing that and got confident in that little pull-up, a little fadeaway pull-up, then it was like, oh, you can't guard him. When he figures that shit out with Doncic, they gonna be nice.
But that's my concern with Porzingis, because Carlisle is not pushing that type of offense. Like he has said himself how much of a low percentage the post up is. So he likes Porzingis being a two guard, trying to cross people up and shoot jump shots over people,
getting a rim and shit.
Right, when you're literally playing the smallest team in the league, and you could have a field day, just posting up. Even though you had 39, you could have 50. You posted.
They shouldn't have lost that game, and they lost it because they kept taking jumpers and hoping that Trey Burke was going to bail them the fuck out.
Right, Trey. And that was hoping Trey Burke went 6 for 6 from 3, and then realized he was Trey Burke.
He said it, then he realized he was Trey Burke. If I will say this though, if he drops you 20, there's no game you should be losing.
Right, you're supposed to win that game.
He dropped 20, and like I think what Doncic had like 20 something or maybe 30, and then KD had a triple double.
He had like a 30-point triple double.
Right,
Porzingis had like
there's
39.
no reason you lose if you play a little bit of defense. You win that game.
and that's the other thing. That's the other thing. Porzingis doesn't play defense.
No. Not even a little bit. To be that tall and never get blocks is kind of upsetting. Or play defense is just upsetting. But that game was interesting. I mean, I'm happy basketball's back, I guess, more than I thought I would be. But I just hope it doesn't get old after a while of being like, oh well, it's just the same exact thing next week and then the week after.
I tried to watch it earlier and it's just like, this is going to be the same thing when the playoffs start.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, like I said that earlier, like it's the same shit. Like, I want to get hyped about it, but that's tough, man. It's tough to get hyped about I think the playoffs, like the atmosphere is what makes it the playoffs. It's the intensity of every shot. Like, you can feel the intensity, and it's going to be like, I don't care how many cameras and how many virtual fans and how many sound effects.
I was gonna ask, the virtual fans don't get you hyped? People clapping 2 seconds late?
I'm gonna say you can't even hear them, and they off time. That was the whole point. Like the NBA is doing what they can do. I can't be but so mad because they're doing what they can do, but I don't know, man. Just like this shit sucks. At least they're playing though.
Yeah, they're
could
playing,
not be playing, and that would be worse.
Something to watch.
So we got to do it because we promised we were going to do it. You could do it now, you could do it later, but you gave the people a promise. You were going to give
Black Lives Matter.
You were going to give your Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I told you. I wasn't. You see, I got like my do rag on. I got murder. It's murder week today. Not murder week. Like. So. I wasn't going to part two you on the rap thing like they do. But here's the thing. Your Black Lives Matter. I'm not the biggest supporter of Black Lives Matter, not so much for what it initially stood for, because Black lives do matter. But when you look at the mission statement and everything that they represent and the people that they trot out in front to represent us, they don't represent all black males. All black lives. Black males are like excluded from Black Lives Matter, except for when we get killed, and that's when they want to use, our deaths as a jumping off point to do more of their stuff. But under circumstances that are just normal, and there isn't a death to get behind, they don't really do anything. Like, it's always been funny to me about you donate this money and nobody knows where this money goes or how is it, distributed amongst Black lives.
So when you say mission statement, where mission statement? Because people are gonna ask, where is it say? Because I mean, you mean BlackLivesMatter.com?
You go right on their website.
Is that the accredited, what they claim is the site? Just before I make my comments, is that the site?
BlackLivesMatter.com?
I'm about to look it up right now.
I don't.
Just
to verify. I don't know. And I think
I read it.
Beef is that. Like, I don't know if that is the official site. So, if that is the official site, I mean, we gotta get the people what passage we talking about, because they're gonna be like, where? This is gonna get heat.
So when you go to BlackLivesMatter.com and you go to the about, and then you just read through. Let's see, which one is it? Is it the about? No, it's not the about. Let me find it. There's what we believe. Yeah, that one. So what we believe, right? So when you read through it, it starts off where it's like, okay, yeah, I can get with that. And then it just takes a whole turn, a whole shift. You know what I'm talking about, Reek? It like takes a whole shift. I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe I missed something. That's why I'm holding my judgment, because I believe, all press is good press. And I believe that the fact that they exist in general is probably better than them not existing. I think there's just some accountability that I feel like needs to be addressed. Or, you know how you have an organization that will release, hey, this is what we did this year. This is where this is how many we made, this is how much money we made in donations. This is where they went. This is the cause. It's like, maybe they have that and I just haven't found it. And I bet you they do, right? But particularly in this instance, I have not seen anything like that. So I feel like questions can be asked and I shouldn't be looked at like I'm crazy.
I mean, that's the same thing that like Sean King came under. I mean, I'm sure y'all know who Sean King is, but like he was the activist that's heavy on social media. And he kind of came under like, well, not under fire, but he were kind of like, this dude kind of looks kind of like white. Like, and there was a controversy behind that. And obviously he's semi-mixed, whatever. But beyond that, the thought was like, he does all these great things, but like, you never know where the money goes. And there's a big article on him. I would encourage you guys to go check it out, where like, there's like a reporter outlines all of the things that he's done and pretty much says, like, he's had this foundation, that foundation, that foundation. He had this money went here, this money was supposed to went there, and then they show the tax returns are just like, that shit don't add up. They're like, where does this money go? And then you hear people that work in the organization say, yeah, like, he has to be a part of everything, and he scrapped different projects, and we don't really know what's going on. Like, when you hear that kind of shit, it's kind of like, and like when I discussed Black Lives Matter, my whole thing was, obviously, the concept makes sense. Like, okay, yes, Black Lives Matter. You shouldn't brutalize Black people. That's trash. Yes, facts. But beyond that, in terms of an actual, real laid out plan, if reading the site doesn't give that to us, where is that? Like, because there's parts of it's like, it's hard to know the legitimacy of the movement if you don't have transparency. And if you don't have transparency, I'm left to my own conclusions. And that's why I think Black Lives Matter has become. It's become a rallying cry against racism. But then, like, they have the story where apparently one of the big groups that was collecting donations was actually white supremacy or some other, like, anti-group. Because they know if you see Black Lives Matter, you're going to be moved to want to donate. So I feel like the people who really run or control those movements or supposedly leading those movements need to be very clear about what the plan was. I think that's something that we don't have, that kind of transparency from the civil rights movement. Like, they had a real, oh no, we have a plan. What's the plan? We're going to get people voting rights. We're going to go to Congress. We're going to go door to door. Like, there's a plan, a thought out plan. I don't think Black Lives Matter has that always. And so it leads you to be like, well, what are we doing? What's the point? Like,
because the only time you see him is when one of us die.
And I think that is also
and so fair. It's never been a clear direction, and it's not all inclusive. So like
I think if you just say Black Lives Matter, I don't think you have to further qualify it. Personally, I think if you just say Black Lives Matter, you mean gay, you mean queer, you mean men, you mean women, you mean children, you mean everybody that's Black. I don't need, and obviously all other people are, should be respected as well. But obviously Black Lives Matter is about Black people of the diaspora, as we would say, right? Mm-hmm. All of them. When you have to qualify and then requalify and then requalify, you begin to further exclude. I think that's what they've done in some respects, at least from some of the language and the narrative that is out there. And if that's not true, they should probably clean it up somewhat to be clear and concise.
I agree.
I agree. It's just, to me, it like puts me in a place where it like sucks, because 10 years later, we find out that they're doing some shady stuff. It like, all the people that donated money, everybody who were supporting them, it's like, it just taints the message altogether, right? And it's just something as simple as just being a little more transparent. And this is the stuff that people will use against us, knowing that, like, in reality they shouldn't, but this is the things that people will use against us. And it's annoying and frustrating.
It's even when you read their stuff, I'm just looking at their stuff now, it's always, when you look at the narratives that get put out there. So like you look at one of the things that says, we build a space that affirms Black women and it's free of sexism, misogyny, and environments in which men are centered. It's like, what do you like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, okay. Well, it's like, I'm with you, but
right. It's like,
there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot on, if you look at the site, there's a lot of things that are like, okay, if you go to about part, you go to We Affirm the Lives, right? It lists out different types of Black people. But one thing I noticed is that it doesn't actually say men, which is, it could be oversight. It could be oversight. I get you. But when you go and mention everybody else, I have to feel like,
yeah,
right? Like,
and that,
yeah, it's like,
that was my worry. It's like, am I playing semantics with words? Like, am I just looking deeper into this?
A little bit. We are a little bit.
Yeah.
Because even though it looks like we're might be looking too deep into it, it's based off other people looking too deep into it, because they'll sit there and kind of make it seem like, they try to make it seem like their struggle, like a Black woman's struggle is worse than a Black man's struggle, and a gay struggle is just like,
I mean, it is debatable, because sexism has existed longer than racism. So it is debatable that you can say that it's harder to be a Black woman than it is to be a Black man. I mean, going based off of the constitutional amendments, we got the right to vote at the 15th Amendment. They didn't technically get it to the 19th Amendment. There's like a 80-year gap, or 50, 65, so like, 80-year gap for that, almost 80-year gap, or 60-year gap, let's say. So there is some precedent for being like, women need more protection than men to an extent. One thing that I talked to my wife about, and she was saying, is that, like, the difference though is that women are sometimes brutalized, but are brutalized or hurt or are attacked. Men often are killed. It's almost like women tend to survive at higher rates. I mean, you look at like our community, for example, women go to college at much greater rates. They go to prison at much less rates. They tend to live longer. They tend to be healthier. So like, there's a lot of things, and obviously men take more risks. There's other factors behind that, but you could make the argument either way, I see. But like, in terms of the struggles of sexism and racism, Black women do deal with that. But I do feel like it's important not to make it about whose struggle is harder, if the point is Black people struggle.
Right. And that's the thing.
We struggle as Black people, period.
Right. That's like as a whole, like, because I don't see, especially particularly with Black men, that we just go out and say, well, ours is worse than yours, and ours is worse than this. Like, we're more inclusive than the other groups are, because for some reason the other groups feel that we have a privilege or an advantage over them in whatever, which I haven't been able to figure out, especially doing the research and seeing that we're pretty much at the bottom of every statistical category. But
whatever advantage we supposedly have, which may exist, I mean, it potentially, we're feared much higher rates. And that's the thing. Like, you know, a black woman may face, you know, the glass ceiling a much shorter than we would, potentially, as far as professionals. But at the same time, like a black woman is less likely, at least from like the numbers say, to be murdered by the cops, to be pulled over. You know, and again, I have an actual story about exactly this of just being the wrong color in the wrong space that we can get into another episode. But it's more likely that those things happen. So yeah, I may get an advantage professionally, maybe, but I'm also likely to be arrested. Like there's, you know what I mean? It's give and take on that. And I think that's why it's important not to start to understand and go over like, hey, everyone's struggle is different. Let's not focus on the differences because that's what divides us. Let's focus on the inclusivity of Black Lives All Matter. Let's all fucking work to make sure that everyone else respects it and does that too.
Yeah, and that's essentially where I am on it. It's like, yeah, you want to tell me that women are at the bottom? I'll be like, sure, okay, but I'm taking like the Jay-Z approach. Okay, so now let's do something about it and let's stop talking about it. You know what I mean?
Let's stop arguing and telling me that I'm trash.
Rick, you are kind of
no. You are kind of trash though.
So it's like go sit there and sit and call me trash because by gender.
I hate that too. Like, all men are trash or black men are the worst. Like don't do that shit. Don't do those.
And then it's just like when and the thing is when people actually have a mature dialogue with each other, then the conversations get different. But even like I've been in debates with women trying to understand where they're coming from, and then they'd be shocked that I'm actually trying to understand where they're coming from. Like they calms them down because they're already expecting to curse me out because they're expecting me to call them a name or say something that they don't really like. And when you have dialogue, you're trying to understand, okay, this is your point of view. This is my point of view. Let's see how we can fix this.